The stars looked different from the bridge of the UES Defiance. Captain Hyunwoo Kim stood at the main window, watching the strange colors of distant suns. His ship was the first human vessel to travel this far from Earth. After 30 years of building and testing, humanity had finally created a ship that could jump between stars. Behind him, the bridge crew worked quietly at their stations. Communications officer Ji-Hai Choi listened to radio signals from empty space. Chief engineer Tae-min Lee watched the fusion engines that powered their ship. Security Chief Dong-hyun Nam kept an eye on the weapon systems. Everyone knew this mission could change everything for humanity. "Captain," Ji-Hai said, turning in her chair, "I'm getting strange signals ahead. They're not natural. Someone is out there." Hyunwoo felt his heart beat faster. After searching the galaxy for signs of life, they had finally found something. "Can you tell what they are?" "Not yet. The signals are complex. More complex than anything we've ever made." Ji-Hai worked at her controls, trying to understand the alien transmissions. "There are dozens of different types. Maybe hundreds." Tae-min looked up from his station. "The engines are running perfectly, Captain. We can reach those signals in about 6 hours." Hyunwoo nodded. This was what they had come for. Earth's leaders had sent the Defiance to find other intelligent life. Humans had been alone for so long. Wars had nearly destroyed their planet. They needed to know they weren't the only thinking beings in the universe. "Set course for the signal source," Hyunwoo ordered. "But keep our weapons ready. We don't know what's waiting for us." Far ahead of the human ship, on a massive space station called Nexus Prime, aliens from across the galaxy worked together. The station was bigger than most moons. Ships from hundreds of different worlds docked at its ports every day. This was the heart of the Galactic Council, where peaceful species had worked together for thousands of years. Ambassador Veltar of the water world Merlon floated in her special tank on the council floor. Her blue skin glowed softly as she spoke to other ambassadors. The council meeting was routine. They were discussing trade routes and mining rights. Nothing exciting had happened in the galaxy for centuries. Suddenly, alarms began to sound. A technician rushed into the chamber. "Ambassadors," he called out, "our long-range sensors have detected an unknown ship. It's approaching the neutral zone." The chamber fell silent. Unknown ships were rare. All known species belonged to the Council. Any ship traveling through Council space should identify itself immediately. General Crixoth of the insect-like Zephyrin Empire stood up. His 4 arms moved as he spoke. "What type of ship? What weapons does it carry?" The technician checked his data pad. "The energy readings are strange, General. The ship is smaller than our battleships, but its power output is enormous. We've never seen anything like it." Veltar felt worried. "Are you sure it's not one of our ships with damaged identification systems?" "We've checked, Ambassador." "This design doesn't match any known species. The ship appears to be made from metals we don't recognize." General Crixoth's insect eyes gleamed. "Then we follow protocol. Send a patrol squadron to intercept. If the ship doesn't identify itself and follow our instructions, we'll treat it as a threat." Other ambassadors agreed. The Galactic Council had been peaceful for so long because they dealt with unknown threats quickly. Ships that didn't follow the rules were dangerous. On the Defiance, Dong-hyun watched his screens carefully. "Captain, I'm detecting multiple contacts ahead. Small ships, moving in formation." Hyunwoo joined him at the tactical station. 6 alien ships appeared on their sensors. They were sleek and beautiful, with curved hulls that seemed to flow like water, but they were heading straight for the Defiance. "They're fast," Dong-hyun reported. "Faster than anything we've built on Earth." Dr. So-Young Park's voice came through the ship's communication system. She was back on Earth, connected to the Defiance through quantum links. Her voice sounded excited and nervous. "Captain, the computer is analyzing their ship designs. These vessels are at least 1,000 years more advanced than ours." Taemin frowned at his engineering station. "That doesn't make sense. Our power readings show we're stronger than they are." "Maybe they don't need as much power," So-Young suggested. "Their technology might be more efficient." The alien patrol ships came closer. Their formation was perfect, like a deadly dance in space. Each ship was about half the size of the Defiance, but there were 6 of them. Ji-Hai worked frantically at her station. "I'm trying to contact them, Captain. I'm broadcasting greetings in every Earth language we know." Any response? Nothing. Clear. "I think they're trying to talk to us, but their language is completely different. The computer can't translate it." On the lead patrol ship, Commander Thexall studied the strange vessel ahead. His people, the Shard Collective, were made of living crystal. Light passed through his body as he thought. The unknown ship's energy signature was unlike anything in Council records. "Send the standard warning," he ordered his crew. "Tell them to power down weapons and prepare for boarding." His communications officer, a young crystal being named Zixar, sent the message. But the translation systems couldn't handle the alien language. What should have been a polite request came out as a demand for immediate surrender. On the Defiance, Ji-Hai listened to the alien transmission. The computer tried to translate, but only caught fragments. "Captain, I think they're telling us to surrender our ship." Hyunwoo felt cold. First contact was not going as planned. "Are you sure?" "The translation is poor, but that's what it sounds like. They want us to turn off our weapons and let them board us." Dong-hyun checked his weapons. Status: "Captain, Earth's first contact protocols are clear. We don't surrender our ship to anyone until proper diplomatic channels are established." Hyunwoo knew the rules. Earth had sent the Defiance to make friends, but not to become prisoners. "Send a message back, Ji-Hai. Tell them we want to talk, but we won't power down our weapons until we understand their intentions." Ji-Hai broadcast the message, but the translation was just as bad going the other way. To the aliens, it sounded like the humans were refusing to follow Council authority and threatening violence. Commander Thexall felt his crystal body grow warm with anger. They refused to comply. They're acting like raiders or pirates. What should we do, Commander? Zixar asked. "Follow protocol. Give them one more warning. If they don't surrender, we'll disable their ship and take them by force." The alien ships moved into attack formation. On the Defiance, alarms began to sound. "Captain," Dong-hyun reported, "they're charging weapons. Energy spikes across all 6 ships." Hyunwoo felt the weight of history on his shoulders. Humanity's first contact with alien life was about to become a battle. "Yellow alert. Shields up. But don't fire unless they fire first." Taemin's hands flew over his controls. "Shields at maximum power, Captain. All systems ready." The alien patrol fired warning shots that passed close to the Defiance's hull, but the shots were closer than Commander Thexall intended. The translation errors had made both sides more aggressive than they meant to be. "They're shooting at us," Dong-hyun said, his voice tight with tension. Hyunwoo had to make a choice. Let the aliens continue shooting and risk his crew, or fight back and start a war. As another shot hit their shields, he made the decision that would change the galaxy forever. "Return fire," he ordered. "Defend the ship." The first shots from the Defiance's kinetic cannons tore through space like invisible hammers. The human weapons used solid metal slugs moving at incredible speed. When they hit the alien ships, the results were devastating. Commander Thexal watched in horror as two of his patrol ships exploded instantly. The crystal being had never seen weapons like this. The human projectiles cut through their shields as if they weren't there. His own ship shook as pieces of destroyed vessels bounced off his hull. "Retreat!" he shouted to his remaining ships. "Fall back to safe distance!" The surviving alien ships pulled away from the Defiance, their formation broken. Thexal's mind raced as he tried to understand what had happened. How could such primitive-looking ships have such powerful weapons? On the human ship, Dong Hyun stared at his screens in shock. "Captain, 4 enemy ships destroyed, 2 retreating. Our weapons performed far better than expected." Hyun-woo felt sick. He had hoped the aliens would back down after a show of force. Instead, they had killed dozens of beings in seconds. "Damage to our ship?" "Minor shield damage only," Taemin reported. "Their weapons barely scratched us." Dr. So-Young Park's voice came through the communication system, sounding worried. "Captain, I'm analyzing the battle data. The alien weapons appear to be energy-based, but they're very weak compared to what we expected." Ji-Hai worked at her station, still trying to establish communication. "I'm getting distress signals from the retreating ships. They're calling for help." Hyun-woo closed his eyes for a moment. First contact had become a massacre. "Keep trying to talk to them, Ji-Hai. We need to explain this was self-defense." But the damage was already done. News of the battle spread through the Galactic Council's communication networks like wildfire. Species that had known only peace for generations suddenly faced reports of a new, incredibly powerful enemy. On Nexus Prime, General Krixoth received Commander Thexal's report with growing alarm. The insect general's 4 arms moved rapidly as he processed the information. "6 ships?" he asked, his voice sharp. "6 of our patrol ships destroyed by one unknown vessel?" "Yes, General," Thexal replied through the communication link. "Their weapons are unlike anything we've ever encountered. Solid projectiles moving at relativistic speeds. Our shields couldn't stop them." Ambassador Veltar listened from her water tank, her blue skin pale with shock. "Surely this is a mistake. No species could have such powerful weapons. We would have detected them developing this technology." "The evidence is clear," General Krixoth said. "We're dealing with a species that has been hiding their true capabilities. They came here pretending to be peaceful, then attacked our patrol without warning." Thexal's crystalline face showed confusion. "Actually, General, they did seem to be trying to communicate. Our translation systems couldn't handle their language." "A trick," Krixoth declared. "They wanted us to think they were peaceful while they prepared to attack. This is clearly a scouting mission for an invasion." Other ambassadors around the chamber began to speak at once. Fear filled their voices. The Galactic Council had been peaceful for so long that most species had forgotten what war looked like. Ambassador Yorthen of the gas giant dwellers spoke through his environmental suit. "What do we know about this species? Where did they come from?" "Unknown," Krixoth admitted. "They appear to be from outside Council space. Their technology suggests they've been preparing for war while we maintained peace." Veltar tried to speak. "Reason. Perhaps we should try harder to communicate with them. This could all be a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding that killed dozens of our people," Crixoth replied angrily. These aliens have shown their true nature. We must respond with force. Meanwhile, on Earth, Fleet Admiral Hei-Wan Shin watched the battle reports from her orbital command station. The data streams from the Defiance painted a grim picture. First contact had failed, and now her ship was alone in hostile space. "Get me Ju Young Han," she ordered her staff. Ju Young was the head of Earth's Defense Council and one of the few people who understood the full capabilities of humanity's small fleet. When Ju Young appeared on the communication screen, his face was grave. "Admiral, I've seen the reports." "What's the situation?" "Bad," Hei-Wan replied. "The Defiance is surrounded by what appears to be a massive alien civilization. They seem to think we're invaders." Ju Young nodded. "What about our other ships? Can we send support?" "That's what I need to discuss with you. If we send more ships, it might look like we're really planning an invasion. But if we leave the Defiance alone, they could be destroyed." Back on the Defiance, the crew worked frantically to understand their situation. Medical Officer Soo-Jin Lee treated minor injuries from the battle while the bridge crew tried to make sense of the alien response. "Captain," Ji-Hai reported, "I'm detecting massive communication traffic in the area. Hundreds of different signals. It looks like news of our encounter is spreading rapidly." Dr. Yoon-ji Song, the ship's xenobiologist, studied the alien communication patterns. The traffic patterns suggest a highly organized civilization, much larger than we expected. Hyunwoo felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. One battle had potentially made enemies of an entire galaxy. "Any luck with translation?" "Some progress," Yoon-ji replied. "I think I'm beginning to understand their basic language structure, but it's going to take time to build a proper translation matrix." Min Ho-yoon, the diplomatic attaché, looked up from his station. "Captain, if this is really a galactic civilization, we need to establish formal diplomatic contact as soon as possible. Every moment we wait, the situation gets worse." Tae-min monitored the ship's systems while keeping an eye on long-range sensors. "Captain, I'm detecting movement throughout the system. Lots of ships heading our way." "How many?" Hyunwoo asked. "Hard to tell. At least 50 so far, but more keep appearing on sensors." Dong-hyun studied the tactical display. "They're moving in organized formations. Military formations. This isn't a rescue mission, Captain. They're preparing for war." The realization hit everyone on the bridge at the same time. The aliens weren't just angry about the destroyed patrol ships. They saw the Defiance as the beginning of an invasion. Every ship heading their way was coming to fight. "Get me a count of their total forces," Hyunwoo ordered, "and see if you can determine their weapons capabilities." As the hours passed, the situation became clearer and more frightening. The aliens were mobilizing forces from across their territory. Ships from dozens of different species were converging on the Defiance's position. Dr. So Young Park's analysis of the alien technology revealed both good and bad news. "Captain, their weapons technology appears to be several generations behind ours, but their numbers are overwhelming. We're detecting at least 200 ships now, with more arriving every hour." Hyunwoo stared at the tactical display. Red. Dots representing alien ships surrounded the single blue dot that was the Defiance. "What about their defenses?" "Their shields use different technology than ours, but they seem relatively weak," So Young replied. "The problem is that even weak weapons can be dangerous if there are enough of them." Ji-Hai suddenly looked up from her station. "Captain, I'm receiving what appears to be an official communication. The translation is still rough, but I think it's some kind of ultimatum." Let's hear it. The alien message came through the ship's speakers, processed by the computer's best attempt at translation. The voice was mechanical and cold. Unknown. Vessel. You have violated Galactic Council space and destroyed Council ships. You will power down all weapons and surrender immediately. You have one standard time unit to comply. Failure to surrender will result in your destruction. The bridge fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. The aliens were giving them an ultimatum. Surrender or die. How long is a standard time? Unit? Hyunwoo asked. Yunji worked quickly at her station. Based on their communication patterns, I estimate about 1 of our hours. Hyunwoo looked around at his crew. These were good people who had volunteered for humanity's greatest adventure. Now they faced an impossible choice. Options? He asked. We could try to run, Dong-hyun suggested. Our ships are faster than theirs. And lead them straight back to Earth, Minho pointed out. If they think we're invaders, running home would confirm their fears. We could surrender and hope they listen to reason, Ji-hai said. Or we could fight, Taemin added quietly. Hyunwoo nodded. Those were their choices. Run and endanger Earth. Surrender and hope for mercy from aliens who thought they were murderers. Or fight against impossible odds. The countdown had begun. Time was running out. Captain Hyunwoo stood on the bridge of the Defiance, watching the alien fleet grow larger on his screens. In 30 minutes, the ultimatum would expire. The aliens expected him to surrender his ship and crew to them. Dr. Yoonji Song worked desperately at her station, trying to break through the communication barriers. Her fingers flew across the controls as she analyzed alien language patterns. I'm making progress with their language, Captain, but I need more. Time. How much more time? Hyunwoo asked. Hours, maybe days. Their language is completely different from anything humans have ever encountered. Minho Yoon looked up from his diplomatic station. His face was pale with stress. Captain, I've been studying their ultimatum. The translation might be wrong, but it sounds like they don't just want us to surrender. They want us to submit to some kind of judgment. What kind of judgment? Hyunwoo asked. That's what worries me. The word they're using could mean trial, execution, or punishment. Without better translation, we can't tell which one. Communications Officer Ji-hai tried again to reach the alien fleet. Unknown ships. This is the Earth vessel Defiance. We seek peaceful contact with your civilization. Our attack on your patrol was in self-defense. We wish to establish diplomatic relations. The response came back in the same mechanical tone as before. The computer struggled to translate it. Your crimes against the Galactic Council cannot be forgiven. Surrender now or face destruction. Engineer Taemin monitored the ship's systems while watching the approaching fleet. Captain, our engines are running at peak efficiency. If we need to fight or run, we're ready. Security Chief Dong-hyun studied the tactical situation. The alien fleet now numbers over 300 ships. They're forming attack formations around our position. Whatever they're planning, it's going to happen soon. Dr. So-Young Park's voice came through the communication system from Earth. Captain, I've been analyzing the battle data from your first encounter. The aliens' weapons and shields appear to be designed for fighting each other, not ships like yours. What do you mean? Hyunwoo asked. Their technology seems focused on precision and efficiency rather than raw power. They've probably been at peace for so long that they've forgotten how to build weapons for real war. Medical Officer Soo-Jin Lee looked up from her station. That could explain why our weapons were so effective. We built our ships assuming we'd face enemies as dangerous as ourselves. The alien fleet continued to close in. The largest ships were massive, bigger than anything humanity had ever built. But their energy signatures suggested they were not much more powerful than the patrol ships the Defiance had already destroyed. 15 minutes until the ultimatum expires, Ji-Hai reported. Hyun-woo made a decision. Open a channel to Earth. Priority communication. Within moments, Fleet Admiral Haewon Shin appeared on the main screen. Behind her, Hyun-woo could see the orbital command station where Earth's military leaders were monitoring the situation. "Admiral," Hyun-woo said, "we need instructions. The aliens have given us an ultimatum. Surrender or be destroyed." Haewon's face was grim. "What's your assessment of their capabilities?" "They have overwhelming numbers, but their individual ships appear to be weaker than expected. However, there are hundreds of them. Can you escape?" "Possibly, but if we run, they might follow us back to Earth." Haewon nodded. "Captain, Earth's Defense Council has made a decision. You are not to surrender your ship under any circumstances. We cannot risk our technology falling into unknown hands." "Understood, Admiral. But if we fight, this could start a war with an entire galactic civilization." "Captain," Haewon's voice was steady, "you are humanity's representative out there. Do what you think is right. But remember, you carry the hopes and fears of our entire species." The communication ended, leaving Hyun-woo alone with the hardest decision of his life. Around him, his crew waited for orders. 10 minutes, Ji-Hai announced. Suddenly, the alien fleet began to move. Instead of waiting for the ultimatum to expire, they were advancing early. "Captain," Dong-hyun called out, "the alien ships are breaking formation. They're moving to attack positions." "Are they firing?" Hyun-woo asked. "Not yet, but their weapons are charging." Dr. Yoon-ji looked up from her translation work. "Captain, I think I've figured out part of their communication. The word they've been using for surrender. It doesn't mean what we thought." "What does it mean?" "Execution. They're not asking us to surrender. They're telling us to prepare to die." The bridge fell silent. The aliens had never intended to capture them. This was an execution, not an arrest. 5 minutes, Ji-Hai said quietly. Hyun-woo looked around at his crew. These people had trusted him to lead humanity's first journey to the stars. Now he had to decide whether to fight for their lives or let them die without resistance. "All hands, this is the captain," he announced over the ship's communication system. "The alien fleet is preparing to attack. They have not responded to our peaceful communications. All crew to battle stations." Alarms began to sound throughout the ship. The crew moved quickly to their emergency positions. They had trained for this moment, but no one had expected it to happen during a first contact mission. "Weapons ready," Dong-hyun reported. "Shields at maximum power," Tae-min added. "All systems green," Soo-jin confirmed from the medical bay. 3. Alien fleet was now close enough for detailed scans. Dong-hyun studied the approaching ships with growing surprise. "Captain, these ships are beautiful, but they're not built for serious combat. Look at these weapon placements." Hyun-woo examined the tactical display. The alien ships were indeed beautiful, with flowing curves and elegant designs. But their weapons seemed almost decorative compared to the heavy guns of the Defiance. "They look like parade ships," Dong-hyun continued. "Pretty to look at, but not designed for real fighting." How long since they've seen real war? Tae-min wondered. Dr. So-young's analysis appeared on their screens. "Based on their ship designs and technology patterns, I estimate the Galactic Council has been at peace for at least 500 years, maybe longer." "That explains why they're so scared of us," Minho realized. They've forgotten what real warships look like. 2 minutes, Jihai announced. The alien fleet was now in attack formation. The largest ships moved to the front, while smaller vessels spread out to surround the Defiance. It was an impressive display, but Dong Hyun noticed flaws in their tactics. "They're bunching up too much," he observed. "If we fire into that formation, we'll hit multiple ships with every shot." "Maybe that's why they've stayed peaceful for so long," Hyun-woo said. "They've forgotten how to fight effectively." 1 minute. The final seconds ticked away. The alien fleet was now in position, their weapons charged and ready. On the Defiance, the crew waited for Captain Hyun-woo's orders. 30 seconds. Hyun-woo made his choice. "All weapons, target the lead ships. Fire when they open fire on us." 10 seconds. The alien fleet stopped moving. For a moment, space was perfectly still. "Time," Jihai whispered. The alien ships opened fire all at once. Hundreds of energy beams lanced through space toward the Defiance. The human ships' shields flared as they absorbed the incoming fire. "Shields holding," Taemin reported. "Their weapons are even weaker than we thought." "Return fire," Hyun-woo ordered. The Defiance's kinetic cannons spoke with voices of thunder. Solid metal slugs accelerated to incredible speeds, shot toward the alien fleet. Where they hit, ships simply disappeared in flashes of light and debris. "Direct hits on 6 targets," Dong Hyun reported. "All destroyed." The alien fleet seemed to pause in shock. They had expected their overwhelming numbers to quickly destroy the single human ship. Instead, they were watching their own vessels die in massive explosions. "Continue firing," Hyun-woo ordered. "Target the largest ships first." The battle that would reshape the galaxy had begun. But instead of the quick execution the aliens had planned, they found themselves facing an enemy unlike anything they had ever encountered. The Defiance fought like a creature from their worst nightmares, dealing death with every shot while shrugging off their return fire. In the first 5 minutes of combat, 30 alien ships were destroyed. The beautiful formations of the Galactic Council fleet began to break apart as ships tried to escape the range of the human weapons. But there were still hundreds of them, and more ships were arriving every hour. The war between humanity and the galaxy had begun with fire and fury, and there was no turning back. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was unlike anything in their recorded history. Representatives from hundreds of species filled the great chamber on Nexus Prime, their voices rising in panic and anger. The peaceful civilization that had existed for centuries was facing its greatest crisis. General Crixoth stood at the center of the chamber, his 4 insect arms gesturing as he spoke. "The enemy ship continues to destroy our vessels with ease. In the first hour of battle, we lost 47 ships. Their weapons are devastatingly effective. Ambassador Veltar floated in her water tank, her blue skin pale with shock." 47 ships? How is that possible? "We sent our best fleet commanders. Their technology is far beyond our current capabilities," Crixoth admitted. "Every shot they fire destroys one of our ships. Meanwhile, our weapons barely damage their shields." The chamber erupted in frightened voices. Species that had never known war suddenly faced the reality of an enemy they couldn't defeat. The elegant, peaceful ships of the Galactic Council were no match for humanity's war-built vessels. Ambassador Yorthen of the gas giant Dwellers spoke through his environmental suit. "What about negotiation? Have we tried to communicate with them since the battle began?" "They ignore all communication attempts," General Crixoth replied. "They seem determined to destroy every ship we send against them." This wasn't entirely true. The Defiance had tried many times to contact the alien fleet, but the translation problems made meaningful communication impossible. What sounded like peaceful overtures in human language came across as threats and taunts in alien tongues. "We need to consider evacuation," suggested Ambassador Lithara of the Forest Worlds. "If one ship can destroy so many of ours, what happens when more arrive?" The thought sent chills through the chamber. If the humans had more ships with similar capabilities, the Galactic Council's entire civilization could be at risk. "How many ships do you estimate they have?" Veltar asked. Krixoth's insect features showed uncertainty. "Unknown. This could be a scout ship, or it could be their entire fleet. We have no way of knowing." On Earth, Fleet Admiral Heiwan Shin faced similar uncertainty. In the orbital command station above Earth's surface, she watched real-time reports from the Defiance. The battle was going better than expected, but the situation was still desperate. "Admiral," Ju Young Han said, joining her at the command center, "the Defense Council has made a decision. We're authorizing the deployment of Second Fleet." Heiwan felt her stomach tighten. Second Fleet consisted of humanity's remaining deep space warships. Sending them would commit Earth's entire military force to this conflict. "Are we sure about this?" "The Defiance can't hold out indefinitely," Ju Young replied. "Our analysis shows more alien ships arriving every hour. Eventually, their numbers will overwhelm our defenses." Admiral Chang Min, "Oh, Commander of Second Fleet," appeared on their communication screen. His weathered face showed the stress of preparing for humanity's first interstellar war. "Admiral Shin, my ships are ready to jump. 12 vessels fully armed and prepared for combat." 12 ships against hundreds, Heiwan said quietly. "This could be the end of everything we've built, or the beginning of something new," Chang Min replied. "If we can prove that humanity won't be bullied or destroyed, maybe we can find a way to peace." Back on the Defiance, the battle continued with mechanical precision. Captain Hyanwu had settled into the rhythm of combat, but the stress was showing on his crew. "Status report," he called to his officers. 83 enemy ships destroyed," Security Chief Dong Hyun reported. "No damage to our hull. Shield strength at 92%. More ships arriving," Tactical Officer Ye Jin Moon added. She had taken over monitoring the long-range sensors. "I count at least 50 new contacts approaching from multiple directions." Engineer Tae Min wiped sweat from his forehead. "Our weapons are performing beyond specifications, but they're running hot. We'll need to reduce firing rate soon or risk damaging the systems." Medical Officer Soo-Jin Lee's voice came from the ship's medical bay. "All crew members are in good health, but stress levels are rising. We need to end this battle soon." Dr. Yoon-ji Song looked up from her translation work. "Captain, I'm starting to understand more of their language. I think some of these ships aren't military at all. They're civilian vessels pressed into service." This news troubled Hyun-woo. The Defiance was fighting against an enemy that included non-military ships. People who had never expected to see combat were dying because of communication failures. "Any progress on establishing real communication?" he asked. "Some," Yoon-ji replied. "But their language is so different from ours that even basic concepts are hard to translate. The word they use for peace seems to also mean submission. To them, asking for peace might sound like demanding surrender." Communications. "Officer," Ji-Hai suddenly looked up from her station. "Captain, I'm detecting a massive energy signature approaching, something much larger than the other ships." The main screen showed a new contact appearing on long-range sensors. This ship was enormous, easily 10 times the size of the largest vessel they had faced so far. "What is that?" Hyun-woo asked. Dr. So-young Park's voice came from Earth. "Captain, based on the energy readings, that appears to be some kind of command ship or battleship. Its power output is significantly higher than the other vessels." The massive alien ship approached slowly, its escorts spreading out in a protective formation. As it came closer, the Defiance's sensors revealed its incredible size and beauty. The ship was like a floating cathedral, covered in graceful spires and glowing with soft internal light. "It's beautiful," Yejin whispered. "It's also heavily armed," Dong-hyun added, studying the tactical display. "I'm reading weapon systems throughout the ship. This one might actually be dangerous." A new communication came from the alien flagship. The translation was still poor, but the meaning was clearer than before. "Human vessel," the alien voice said. "This is Grand Admiral Kelthara of the Galactic Council Defense Force. You have committed acts of war against peaceful civilizations. Cease your attacks and prepare for judgment." For the first time since the battle began, Hyun-woo heard something that sounded like an official diplomatic contact. He ordered Ji-hai to respond. "Grand Admiral Kelthara, this is Captain Hyun-woo Kim of the Earthship Defiance. We came here seeking peaceful contact with your civilization. Our defensive actions have been in response to your attacks on our vessel." The response came back quickly. "You destroyed our patrol ships without warning. You have killed hundreds of our people. There can be no peace between us." Dr. Yoon-ji worked frantically to improve the translation. "Captain, I think there's still a major communication problem. When we say defensive actions, they might be hearing aggressive conquest." "Keep working on it," Hyun-woo ordered. He turned to Dong-hyun. "What's your assessment of that flagship?" "It's powerful, but still using the same basic technology as the other ships. Our weapons should be effective against it." "But Captain," Yejin added, "if we destroy their flagship, there won't be any chance for negotiation. That ship probably contains their military leaders." Hyun-woo faced another impossible choice. The alien flagship was clearly preparing to attack. Its escorts were moving into combat formation, but destroying it would eliminate any hope of peaceful resolution. "Incoming transmission from Earth," Ji-hai announced. Admiral Haewon Shin appeared on the communication screen. "Captain, Admiral Chang Min's fleet is preparing to jump to your position. ETA 20 minutes. "Admiral, we're facing a possible negotiation opportunity. Their flagship commander is trying to communicate." "Understood. But don't take unnecessary risks. If they attack, defend yourself." The alien flagship began to glow more brightly. Energy readings spiked across its weapon systems. "They're charging weapons," Dong-hyun reported. "Multiple energy spikes. This is going to be their main attack." "All ships," Grand Admiral Kelthara's voice came through the communication system. "Commence final assault. Destroy the human vessel." The beautiful alien flagship opened fire with dozens of energy weapons. The attack was much more powerful than anything the Defiance had faced so far. The ship's shields flared and sparked as they absorbed the incoming energy. "Shields down to 60%, Taemin reported. That actually hurt. "Return fire," Hyun-woo ordered. "Target their weapon systems if possible." The Defiance's kinetic cannons fired at the alien flagship. The solid metal slugs struck the beautiful spires and weapon towers, tearing them apart in explosions of light and debris. But the massive ship continued to function, its remaining weapons still firing. "Their flagship is tougher than the other ships," Dong-hyun observed. but it's still taking damage. The battle between the human cruiser and the alien flagship became the focus of the entire conflict. Smaller ships from both sides continued to fight around them, but all eyes were on the duel between the two command vessels. Then space around the battle zone began to shimmer and distort. New ships were arriving, but these energy signatures were different from the aliens. "Captain!" Ji-Hai called out excitedly. "Admiral Changmin's fleet is jumping in." 12 human warships materialized in the battle zone, their weapons all ready, charging for combat. The war between humanity and the galaxy was about to enter a new phase. The arrival of Admiral Changmin-O's fleet changed everything. 12 human warships materialized in the battle zone, their sleek hulls gleaming with weapon arrays and shield generators. Each ship was a masterpiece of human military engineering, built for war against enemies that might be as dangerous as humanity itself. "This is Admiral Changmin-O to all human vessels," came the communication across the fleet channel. "Form defensive formation around the Defiance. We're here to bring our people home." Captain Hyun-woo felt relief wash over him as he watched the human ships take position. The UES Retribution, commanded by Commander Sung-Ho Park, moved to his starboard side. The UES Horizon, under Captain Rahi Kim, took position to port. Other ships spread out to create a protective screen around the Defiance. "Captain Kim," Admiral Changmin's voice came through the communication system. "What's the situation?" "We're engaged with a massive alien fleet," Hyun-woo replied. "Hundreds of ships from multiple species. They seem to think we're invaders. Communication has been nearly impossible due to translation problems." "Understood. We're here to get you out, but we'll fight if necessary." The appearance of more human ships sent shockwaves through the alien fleet. Grand Admiral Kelthera watched from her flagship as the reinforcements arrived. Her species, the Luminary, communicated through patterns of light across their crystalline bodies. Right now, her patterns showed deep concern. "Analysis of the new ships," she ordered her tactical officer. "Similar technology to the first vessel," came the reply. "All appear to be heavily armed. Total human force now numbers 13 ships." 13 ships, Kelthera repeated, "against our 327 vessels." But she had seen what one human ship could do. 13 might be more than enough to destroy her entire fleet. On Nexus Prime, the Galactic Council was in chaos. Reports of more human ships arriving had reached the chamber, and panic was spreading among the representatives. "This proves it," General Kriksoth declared, his insect arms waving in agitation. "This was always an invasion. The first ship was just a scout. Now their war fleet has arrived." Ambassador Veltar tried to maintain reason. 13 ships is hardly a war fleet. Perhaps they're just trying to rescue their people. After destroying over 100 of our vessels?" Kriksoth's voice was sharp with anger. "They've shown their true intentions." Ambassador Zorthek of the Rocky Titan worlds stood up slowly. His people were known for their patience and wisdom, but even he seemed shaken. "The question is no longer whether we're at war. The question is whether we can survive this war." The chamber fell silent. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Council faced an enemy they might not be able to defeat. "What about our allies?" asked Ambassador Lithara. "The species outside the Council. Surely some of them will help us." General Kriksoth nodded grimly. "I've already sent messages to the Void Runners, the Barrier Guard, and even the Shard Collective. Every species in the galaxy needs to understand the threat these humans represent. What happened next was unprecedented in galactic history." Species. that had been enemies for millennia put aside their differences to face the human threat. The proud Zephyrin Empire reached out to their ancient rivals, the crystal-based Shard Collective. The nomadic Void Runners agreed to work with the Territorial Barrier Guard. Fear of humanity was uniting the galaxy in ways that thousands of years of peace had never achieved. Admiral Chang Min studied the tactical situation from his flagship, the UES Sovereign. The alien fleet was reorganizing, bringing more ships into the battle zone every hour. His experienced eye could see the problems with their formations, but their sheer numbers were overwhelming. Admiral, his tactical officer, Commander Wu Jin, Bay reported, alien ship count now exceeds 400, more contacts approaching from multiple vectors. Any identification on the new ships? Negative, sir. But they're using different technologies from the first group. It looks like multiple species are joining the fight. Changmin understood what this meant. The battle was no longer between humans and one alien civilization. It was becoming humanity against the entire galaxy. "Get me a conference with all ship captains," he ordered. Within minutes, the commanders of all 13 human ships were connected through quantum communication links. Changmin looked at their faces on his screen. These were Earth's best officers leading humanity's finest ships. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, "the situation has escalated beyond our original mission. We're now facing what appears to be a galactic alliance against humanity." Captain Na Young Lim of the UES Thunder spoke first. "Admiral, our ships are performing well against their technology. The question is whether we can handle their numbers." "What about withdrawal?" asked Commander Sung-Ho Park. "We could retreat to Earth and prepare better defenses, and lead them straight to our homeworld," Captain Ra-Hee Kim pointed out. "If they think we're invaders, running home would confirm their fears." Chang Min nodded. "That's my assessment as well. We need to end this conflict here one way or another." Captain Hyun-woo spoke up from the Defiance. "Admiral, our xenobiologist has made some progress with their language. We might be able to establish real communication." "How long do you need?" "Hours, maybe days, but we'd need the aliens to stop shooting at us long enough to talk." The discussion was interrupted by alarms throughout the human fleet. The alien forces were moving again, forming new attack formations that included ships from dozens of different species. "Incoming transmission," Chang Min's communication officer announced. The message came through in broken, translated fragments. "Human fleet. Final warning. Surrender all vessels. Face judgment for crimes against galactic peace. No mercy for invaders." Chang Min's expression hardened. "Send a reply. Tell them we seek peaceful contact and are willing to negotiate, but we will not surrender our ships." The response came back quickly and clearly. "No negotiation with murderers. Prepare to die." "Well," Chang Min said grimly, "I think that settles the question of diplomacy." The alien fleet began its final approach. Over 400 ships from dozens of species moved toward the 13 human vessels. The formation was impressive, if flawed. Ship types that had never worked together before struggled to coordinate their attack patterns. On the human side, the fleet formation was tight and professional. Each ship knew its role and position. They had trained together and fought together. The alien fleet might have overwhelming numbers, but the humans had unity of purpose and superior training. "All ships," Chang Min broadcast to his fleet, "remember your training. These aliens have been at peace for centuries. They've forgotten how to fight a real war. We haven't." Captain Ra-Hee Kim of the Horizon began electronic warfare operations, using humanity's advanced computer systems to disrupt alien communications. The techniques developed during Earth's brutal cyber wars proved devastating against the trusting alien networks. Commander Sung-Ho Park of the Retribution prepared to demonstrate human tactical innovation. His ship was equipped with experimental, gravity manipulation systems that could use planetary bodies as weapons. But even with all their advantages, the human fleet faced desperate odds. 400 ships against 13. The battle that was about to begin would determine the fate of both humanity and the galaxy. As the alien fleet entered weapons range, Admiral Chang Min gave the order that would echo through history. All ships, open fire. Show them what humans can do. The 13 human warships opened fire as one, their combined firepower lighting up space like a new star. The war between humanity and the galaxy had reached its climax, and there was no turning back. In the depths of space, civilizations that had existed for millennia faced off against a species that had barely learned to travel between stars. But humanity brought something to the fight that the galaxy had forgotten: the knowledge of how to wage war. The real battle was about to begin. The Battle of Nexus Prime began with fire and thunder. 13 human warships faced over 400 alien vessels in the largest space battle in galactic history. The opening salvos lit up the darkness like the birth of a new star. Admiral Chang Min-oh coordinated the human fleet from his flagship, the UES Sovereign. His tactical display showed the massive alien formation spreading out to surround his small force. Any normal military commander would have been overwhelmed by the odds, but Chang Min had spent his life preparing for impossible battles. "All ships, implement Formation Delta," he ordered. "Use the planetary bodies for cover and maneuvering." Commander Sung-Ho Park of the UES Retribution was the first to demonstrate human tactical innovation. His ship dove toward Nexus Prime's largest moon, using its gravity well to slingshot around the lunar surface at incredible speed. The aliens, accustomed to traditional fleet engagements in open space, were caught completely off guard. "Retribution to all ships," Sung-Ho reported. As his vessel emerged from behind the moon, gravity assist maneuver successful, engaging enemy rear formations. The Retribution's kinetic cannons fired as it swept past a formation of crystalline ships from the Shard Collective. The beautiful crystal vessels shattered like glass under the impact of human weapons. In seconds, a dozen alien ships were destroyed by a single pass. Captain Na Young Lim of the UES Thunder followed with her own innovation. Her ship was equipped with experimental stealth systems developed during Earth's shadow wars. The Thunder seemed to vanish from alien sensors before reappearing in the middle of their formation. "Ghost attack successful," Na Young reported as her ship's weapons tore through confused alien vessels. Enemy formation breaking up, but the aliens adapted quickly to human tactics. Grand Admiral Kelthera coordinated the defense from her massive flagship, using her superior numbers to create overlapping fields of fire. Where one alien ship fell, 2 more took its place. "Human vessels are using unconventional tactics," she reported to the other alien commanders. "Reform into defensive spheres. Don't let them isolate our ships." Captain Hyun-woo of the Defiance found himself at the center of the battle. His ship had started this war, and now it had become the focus of alien anger. Dozens of enemy vessels concentrated their fire on the human cruiser, shields down to 40%, Engineer Taemin Lee reported. "We're taking heavy damage." "Evasive maneuvers," Hyun-woo ordered. "Keep us moving." The Defiance twisted and turned through space, its pilot pushing the ship beyond its design limits. Behind them, alien weapons fire lit up the darkness, but the Human ships' superior maneuverability kept them alive. Dr. Yoonji Song worked frantically at her translation station while explosions rocked the ship around her. "Captain, I'm picking up communications between the alien fleets. They're arguing with each other." "About what?" "Their tactics. Some species want to press the attack. Others want to fall back and regroup. They're not used to working together." This gave Hyunwoo an idea. "Can you broadcast on their communication frequencies?" "Yes. But what should I say?" "Tell them their allies are abandoning them. Make them think their coalition is falling apart." Yoonji began broadcasting false messages across alien communication channels. Her improved translation skills allowed her to craft convincing reports of various species retreating or changing sides. The psychological warfare began to have an effect as alien formations became hesitant and confused. Captain Rahi Kim of the UES Horizon demonstrated another human advantage: electronic warfare. Her ship's advanced computer systems developed during Earth's cyber conflicts began infiltrating alien networks. "I'm in their communication grid," she reported. "Their security is almost non-existent. They trust their technology too much." Rahi's cyber attacks began turning the aliens' own systems against them. Navigation computers malfunctioned, weapon targeting systems failed, and communication networks became unreliable. Ships that had never experienced cyber warfare were helpless against human electronic assault. But the sheer numbers of the alien fleet began to tell. Even with all their advantages, the human ships were taking damage. The UES Striker, commanded by Captain Min-Soo Jung, lost its main engines to a lucky hit from a Zephyran plasma cannon. "Striker is dead in space," Min-Soo reported. "Engines offline, weapons at 50%. Retribution moving to assist," Commander Seung Ho responded, bringing his ship around to protect the damaged vessel. Admiral Chang Min watched the battle unfold with the eye of an experienced strategist. His ships were performing magnificently, but they couldn't keep this up forever. The alien fleet was learning from their mistakes, adapting to human tactics. "Admiral," his tactical officer commander Woo Jin Bei reported, "enemy casualty count is approaching 200 ships, but they still outnumber us 20-1. Any word from Earth?" "Admiral Haewon is mobilizing Third Fleet, but they won't arrive for hours." Chang Min made a difficult decision. "All ships, begin phased withdrawal toward the system edge. We need to buy time for reinforcements." But the aliens had anticipated this move. Ships from the outer system moved to block the human escape route, while the main fleet pressed their attack with renewed fury. "We're surrounded," Captain Na Young reported from the Thunder. In the midst of the chaos, something unexpected happened. A group of ships from the peaceful Merlani civilization suddenly stopped firing and began broadcasting on all frequencies. Ambassador Veltar's voice came through the communication chaos. "All Merlani vessels, cease fire immediately. We have been monitoring human communications. These beings came seeking peace, not war." The revelation that humans had attempted peaceful contact began spreading through the alien fleet. Progressive species started questioning the war's justification, while hardliners like General Kriksoth demanded continued attack. "Ignore the Merlani propaganda," Kriksoth broadcast to all ships. "The humans have shown their true nature. They must be destroyed." But doubt was spreading through the alien ranks. Ships began hesitating in their attacks. Formation discipline broke down, and several species began withdrawing their vessels from the battle. Captain Hyunwoo saw the opportunity. "All human ships, this is defiance. Begin broadcasting on all alien frequencies. Tell them we came in peace. Show them our original mission recordings." Dr. Yunji worked to transmit humanity's first contact protocols across the alien communication grid. The recordings showed human preparations for peaceful diplomatic contact, their attempts at translation, and their horror when the fighting began. The evidence began turning public opinion across the galaxy. Many species had joined the fight only because they feared being branded as human sympathizers. Now they learned that the humans had never intended conquest, but the hardline factions refused to back down. General Krixoth's Zephyrin forces continued their assault, joined by several other militaristic species. The battle became a race between military destruction and political resolution. Admiral Chang Min realized that victory wouldn't come from destroying the alien fleet. It would come from breaking their unity. All ships target only the vessels that are actively firing at us. Let the others see that we don't attack those who stop fighting. The human fleet's selective targeting policy began having the desired effect. Ships that ceased fire were left alone, while aggressive vessels were quickly destroyed. The message was clear. Humans would fight when attacked, but they preferred peace. Medical Officer Sujin Lee of the Defiance began treating wounded aliens rescued from destroyed ships. These acts of mercy, broadcast across the galaxy, contradicted every piece of propaganda about human ruthlessness. "Captain," Sujin reported, "the alien survivors are shocked that we're helping them. They expected to be executed." "Keep treating them," Hyunwoo ordered. "Show them who we really are." The battle continued to rage, but its character was changing. What had begun as humanity against the galaxy was becoming a conflict between those who wanted peace and those who insisted on war. Then space began to shimmer with new arrivals. Admiral Haiwan Shin's Third Fleet was jumping into the system, bringing with it humanity's remaining space forces. The war was entering its final phase. Admiral Haiwan Shin's Third Fleet materialized in the battle zone like avenging angels. 28 human warships, representing Earth's entire remaining space force, joined the fight with weapons blazing. The arrival of humanity's full fleet changed the balance of power in ways no one had expected. "This is Admiral Haiwan Shin to all human vessels," came the broadcast across fleet channels. "Earth's full military force is now committed to this battle. We end this today, one way or another." Captain Hyunwoo watched from the bridge of the Defiance as the new arrivals took their positions. The human fleet now numbered 41 ships against the aliens' remaining 250. Still outnumbered, but the odds were no longer impossible. "Admiral Chang Min," Haiwan's voice continued, "what's the current situation?" "The alien coalition is fragmenting," Chang Min replied from the Sovereign. "Several species have stopped fighting after learning we came in peace. The hardliners are still pressing the attack." Understood. Implementing Plan Omega. Plan Omega was Earth's most desperate military strategy. It called for the complete commitment of all available forces to achieve victory or face total destruction. There would be no retreat, no surrender, and no quarter given to enemies who refused peace. Commander Woojin Bei of the newly arrived UES Valiant led the first wave of Third Fleet ships into combat. His tactical innovations, developed during years of theoretical war games, proved devastatingly effective against alien formations. Using interlocking fields of fire, Woojin reported as his ships carved through enemy formations. "The aliens still fight like this is a medieval battle. They have no concept of modern warfare." Captain Boram Kang of the UES Destiny demonstrated another human advantage: adaptability. When her ship's main weapons were damaged by alien fire, she improvised using the ship's mining lasers as weapons. The industrial tools proved surprisingly effective against alien hulls. Improvised weapons successful, Boram reported. Sometimes, you have to use what you have. But the most significant change came from an unexpected source. Ambassador Veltar of the Merlani had convinced several other peaceful species to not only stop fighting, but to actively oppose the war. All peaceful vessels, she broadcast across the alien fleet. We must stop this madness. The humans came, seeking friendship, and we responded with violence. This is not who we are. Her words resonated with species that had joined the fight reluctantly. The elegant ships of the Song Weavers began withdrawing from combat. The ancient Tome Keepers recalled their vessels. Even some military units began questioning their orders. General Crixoth watched his coalition crumble with growing desperation. All loyal vessels ignore the traitors. These humans are invaders. Destroy them before they can summon more ships. But his own forces were beginning to doubt. The Zephyrin Empire's junior officers had seen the recordings of human peace attempts. They knew their general had hidden the truth from them. Commander Zarthek, Crixoth's own second-in-command, finally spoke up. "General, perhaps we should reconsider. The evidence suggests we misunderstood their intentions." "There will be no reconsideration," Crixoth snapped. "These aliens are a threat to everything we've built. They must be eliminated." The general's refusal to acknowledge the truth split his own forces. Half of the Zephyrin fleet began withdrawing from the battle, while the rest continued fighting under direct orders from their increasingly isolated commander. On the human side, the expanded fleet allowed for more sophisticated tactics. Admiral Haywan coordinated a complex maneuver that used gravitational fields to slingshot human ships around planets and moons at impossible angles. "Physics is on our side," she announced as her ships emerged from behind Nexus Prime's gas giant to strike. Alien formations from unexpected directions. They're still thinking in 2 dimensions while we fight in 3. The tide of battle was clearly turning. Human ships worked in perfect coordination, their centuries of warfare experience showing in every maneuver. Meanwhile, the alien coalition continued to fragment as more species learned the truth about humanity's peaceful intentions. Dr. So Young Park's voice came through the communication system from Earth. "All ships, I'm detecting massive changes in alien communication patterns. Multiple species are broadcasting calls for ceasefire." Captain Ra-Hee Kim of the Horizon had successfully penetrated the alien communication grid completely. "I can confirm that. At least 12 species are demanding an end to hostilities. Their coalition is falling apart. But the hardline factions fought with desperate fury. Ships from the militant warrior caste and the aggressive hunter clans continued their assault, even as their allies abandoned them. Captain Na Young Lim of the Thunder found herself facing 3 enemy vessels simultaneously. Her ships experimental. Shielding systems held against their combined fire, but just barely. "Could use some help here," she called out. Commander Sung-Ho Park of the Retribution responded immediately, his ship diving into the fight with weapons blazing. The alien vessels found themselves caught between 2 human ships and were quickly destroyed. "That's what teammates are for," Seung-Ho said with grim satisfaction. The personal bonds between human crew members proved to be another advantage. While alien species struggled with ancient prejudices and cultural differences, humans fought as a unified force. Medical Officer Soo-Jin Lee continued treating alien wounded aboard the Defiance. Her medical bay had become a symbol of human compassion that contradicted every piece of war propaganda. "Captain," she reported to Yunwu, "the alien patients are asking to speak with their fleets. They want to tell their people that humans are not monsters." "Let them," Yunwu ordered. "Every voice for peace helps." The wounded aliens' testimonies, broadcast across the battle zone, had a profound impact. Species that had never questioned. Their leaders began demanding explanations for the war. Admiral Changmin saw the opportunity to end the conflict. All human ships begin offering surrender terms to any alien vessel that stops fighting. Full clemency for those who withdraw from combat. The offer spread rapidly through the alien fleet. Ship after ship began powering down weapons and withdrawing from the battle. What had once been a unified galactic alliance was now reduced to a handful of militant factions. General Crixoth watched his fleet disintegrate around him. Of the 400 ships that had begun the battle, fewer than 50 remained under his command. But he refused to give up. "All remaining vessels," he broadcast, "we make our final stand here. These humans cannot be allowed to return to their world and bring back more ships." Grand Admiral Kelthara, commanding the alien flagship, faced her own crisis of conscience. Her beautiful vessel had taken heavy damage from human weapons, and her crew was demoralized by the revelations about human intentions. "Admiral," her tactical officer reported, "our casualties are approaching 70%. Most of our weapons are offline." Kelthara's crystalline features showed internal light patterns of deep thought. She had spent her life serving the ideals of galactic peace. Now she wondered if continuing this battle served those ideals or betrayed them. "Open a channel to the human fleet," she ordered. Her communication officer looked surprised. "Admiral, open the channel." Admiral Haiwan received the communication aboard her flagship. The translation was much clearer now, thanks to Dr. Yunji's linguistic work. "Human fleet," Kelthara's voice came through the speakers. "This is Grand Admiral Kelthara of the Galactic Council. I wish to discuss terms." The words sent shockwaves through both fleets. The most senior alien military commander was offering to negotiate. "This is Admiral Haiwan Shin," came the reply. "We're willing to talk, but we need all ships to cease fire first." "Agreed. All Galactic Council vessels. Cease fire immediately. We are entering negotiations with the human fleet." But General Crixoth refused to accept his superior's order. "Kelthara has been corrupted by human propaganda. All loyal ships, ignore her orders. Continue the attack." The alien fleet split completely. Most ships followed Kelthara's ceasefire order, but the militant factions continued fighting under Crixoth's command. The battle was no longer humanity against the galaxy. It had become a civil war within the alien coalition, with humans caught in the middle. Admiral Haiwan made a crucial decision. "All human ships, protect the ceasefire vessels. Fire only on ships that continue to attack." Human warships moved to shield the peaceful alien vessels from their own militant factions. The sight of human ships protecting alien civilians sent a powerful message across the galaxy. The war was ending, but its conclusion would determine the future of interstellar relations for generations to come. The war ended not with a final battle, but with a choice. General Crixoth's remaining ships faced the combined might of the human fleet and the peaceful alien vessels that had joined them. Surrounded and outnumbered, the militant commander finally accepted what his pride had refused to acknowledge. "All Zephyrin vessels," Crixoth broadcast with defeat heavy in his voice. "Cease fire. We have been wrong about these humans." The last shots of the war faded into silence. In the space around Nexus Prime, The debris of hundreds of ships drifted in the darkness. But among the wreckage, something new was being born. Admiral Hei Wan. Shin stood on the bridge of her flagship, looking out at the mixed fleet of human and alien ships. 6 months ago, humanity had been alone in the universe. Now, they were part of something much larger. "Admiral," her communication officer reported, "we're receiving a formal invitation from Grand Admiral Kelthara. She's requesting a meeting aboard the Galactic Council station." "Tell her we accept," Hei-Wan replied. "It's time to build something better than what we destroyed." The meeting took place in the Great Chamber of Nexus Prime, but this time it was different. The rigid, ancient structure of the Galactic Council had collapsed under the pressure of war. In its place, representatives from dozens of species worked together to create something new. Captain Hyun-woo found himself reluctantly appointed as humanity's first galactic ambassador. He had never wanted to be a diplomat, but the galaxy trusted him more than any other human. He was the one who had tried to make peace from the very beginning. "Captain Kim," Ambassador Veltar said as she floated in her water tank beside the negotiation table, "your species has given us a great gift." "What gift?" Hyun-woo asked. "We started a war that killed thousands of people." "You reminded us that peace must be earned, not assumed," she replied. "We had become so comfortable in our safety that we forgot how to recognize friends from enemies." Reformed Galactic Assembly included Earth as a founding member. Unlike the old Council, which had been dominated by ancient established species, the new organization gave equal voice to all members. Humanity's fresh perspective brought new ideas to problems that had remained unsolved for centuries. Dr. So-Young Park's AI systems became the foundation for a new universal translation protocol. Her work bridged not just languages, but entirely different modes of thought. Never again would communication failures lead to war. The key, So-Young explained to a gathering of alien linguists, is understanding that different species don't just use different words. They think in completely different ways. Our translation systems need to account for that. Her breakthrough led to the development of empathy translators that could convey not just meaning, but emotional context and cultural understanding. For the first time in galactic history, species could truly understand each other. Admiral Chang Min found himself overseeing the integration of human military advisors into various alien fleets. The galaxy had learned that sometimes the threat of conflict was necessary to maintain peace. "War is not something to celebrate," he told a class of alien officers, "but it is something you must understand. Peace without strength is just helplessness, waiting for a predator." The alien students listened carefully as Chang Min taught them lessons learned in humanity's bloody history. The techniques of combined arms warfare, the importance of unit cohesion, and the psychology of combat became standard curriculum in the new Galactic Defense Force. Dr. Yoon Ji Song established the Institute for Xenolinguistics, where humans and aliens worked together to prevent future communication disasters. Her staff included beings from dozens of species, all dedicated to ensuring that language barriers never again led to violence. "Every species has something unique to offer," she explained to her students. "The Merlani think in currents and flows. The Zephyrins think in hierarchies and functions. Humans think in stories and relationships. Understanding these differences makes us all stronger." Engineer Tae-Min Lee worked alongside alien scientists to develop new technologies that combined the best of human innovation with galactic knowledge. The fusion of humanity's war-forged engineering with alien elegance created marvels that neither could have achieved alone. "They make things beautiful," he said, watching alien engineers craft flowing hulls for the new generation of starships. "We make things work. Together we can make things that are both beautiful and practical." But perhaps the most important change was in how the galaxy thought about conflict. The old Galactic Council had maintained peace through fear and isolation. The new assembly maintained peace through understanding and preparedness. Commander Wu Jin-bei established the Conflict Resolution Corps, teams of diplomats and soldiers working together to prevent wars before they started. When disputes arose between species, the Corps would deploy to mediate before violence could begin. "The best battle," Wu Jin taught his teams, "is the one you never have to fight." General Cricksoth, the former war leader, found redemption in an unexpected place. His deep understanding of military thinking made him invaluable in designing defensive strategies for peaceful species. He spent his remaining years ensuring that other commanders would never make his mistakes. "I let fear make me see enemies where I should have seen friends," he admitted to Hyunwoo during one of their planning sessions. "Your species taught us that strength and peace are not opposites. They are partners." 6 months after the end of the war, the first joint human-alien exploration mission launched beyond the galaxy's rim. The UES Defiance, now repaired and upgraded, with alien technology, led a fleet of ships from a dozen species into uncharted space. Captain Hyun-woo stood on his bridge, but now it was shared with officers from other worlds. Tactical Officer Ye-jin Moon worked alongside a crystalline being from the Shard Collective. Engineer Tai Min collaborated with a floating gas creature from the Cloud Dancers. The diversity that had once seemed threatening now felt like strength. "Captain," Communications Officer Ji-hai reported, "we're receiving signals from the edge of known space. Something big is out there." "Any idea what it is?" Hyunwoo asked. "Unknown. But the energy patterns are unlike anything in our databases," replied Zarvek, the Shard Collective officer. His crystalline body sparkled with excitement. "This could be a completely new form of life." Dr. Yoonji Song studied the readings from her xenobiology station. "Whatever it is, it's massive, possibly larger than anything we've ever encountered." The mixed crew worked together with an efficiency that would have been impossible before the war. Each species brought their unique strengths to the mission: human adaptability, alien wisdom, crystalline logic, and gaseous intuition combined to create something greater than the sum of its parts. "Plot a course for the signal source," Hyunwoo ordered, "but maintain defensive readiness. We've learned that first contact can be complicated." As the exploration fleet moved toward the unknown, Ambassador Veltar's voice came through the communication system from Nexus Prime. "Good luck, Captain Kim. You carry the hopes of an entire galaxy." The fleet jumped into hyperspace, heading toward their destiny. Behind them, the galaxy they left was forever changed. Species that had been enemies for millennia now worked as partners. Technologies that had been hoarded were now shared. Knowledge that had been kept secret was now open to all. The war that had begun with one ship's arrival at Nexus Prime had become the catalyst for a new age. Humanity's gift to the galaxy hadn't been superior weapons or advanced technology. It had been the reminder that diversity was strength, that conflict could lead to growth, and that peace was something that had to be actively maintained. In the months that followed, the Galactic Assembly grew stronger. Trade routes that had been closed for centuries reopened. Scientific discoveries accelerated as species shared their knowledge freely. Art and culture flourished as different civilizations learned from each other. Medical Officer Soo-Jin Lee established the interspecies medical exchange, where doctors from different worlds learn to treat patients from other species. Her work during the war, treating alien wounded, had shown that compassion was universal. Pain is the same in any language, she often told her students. So is the desire to heal. The new galaxy wasn't perfect. There were still conflicts, still misunderstandings, still species that preferred isolation. But now there were systems in place to handle these problems before they became wars. Captain Min Ho-yoon, the former diplomatic attaché, became the director of the First Contact Protocol Office. His job was to ensure that when new species were discovered, they would be approached with understanding rather than fear. Every first contact is a chance to make the galaxy bigger and better, he explained to his staff. We can't afford to repeat the mistakes we made with humanity. As the exploration fleet moved deeper into unknown space, they carried with them the lessons learned from humanity's violent introduction to galactic civilization. They were prepared for anything. Peaceful species seeking contact, aggressive civilizations looking for conquest, or something entirely unexpected. Contact in 30 seconds, Ji-hai announced as they approached the signal source. The view screen showed something incredible. A massive structure floating in empty space, clearly artificial but unlike anything in galactic records. It was beautiful and alien, suggesting a civilizatio,